Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi wraps up a landmark visit to Poland, elevating ties with the Central European nation to a strategic partnership with a 5-year action plan. Russia and Ukraine both claim fresh battlefield gains on Thursday. Kyiv hears the capture of another village on Russian soil as scores of Ukrainians flee Pokrovsk in the east from advancing Russian forces. And Kamala Harris is set to deliver her life's biggest speech on the final day of the Democratic National Convention, accepting her party's nomination for the presidential contest. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has concluded a successful visit to Poland and is now headed for Ukraine. These are the images of his departure from Warsaw. The official delegation from both the Polish and the Indian sides. That's the Indian ambassador there, the lady in the green sari, who were at the airport to bid him farewell. Now, let's tell you all about the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Poland after 45 years. India and Poland have decided to elevate their bilateral ties to a strategic partnership following a meeting between the Prime Ministers of the two nations in Warsaw. The two leaders have also agreed to have a 5-year action plan to take the relationship between the two nations to higher levels while sending out a key message of peace as Prime Minister Narendra Modi heads to Kyiv from Warsaw.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi remains committed to strengthening India's global presence. Whether it's deepening diplomatic relations or spearheading peace efforts, he consistently emphasizes dialogue and diplomacy as the path forward. His tribute at a memorial for fallen soldiers in Poland underscores his dedication to promoting peace in the region.
यूक्रेन और पश्चिम एशिया में चल रहे संघर्ष हम सभी के लिए गहरी चिंता का विषय है। भारत का यह दृढ़ विश्वास है कि किसी भी समस्या का समाधान रणभूमि में नहीं हो सकता। हम शांति और स्थिरता की जल्द से जल्द बहाली के लिए डायलॉग और डिप्लोमेसी का समर्थन करते हैं।
His Polish counterpart lauded Prime Minister Narendra Modi's effort to bringing about a peaceful and just end to conflict in Ukraine.
Not only on defense but on various issues, our understanding has enhanced. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is committed to further deepen India-Poland relationship. PM Modi is also willing to cooperate with the European Union. I am confident that PM Narendra Modi will play a very crucial role.
Apart from taking up the Ukraine conflict in their bilateral meeting, both leaders agreed to elevate their relations to a strategic partnership. Discussions covered diverse areas of bilateral ties, including trade and investment, science and technology, defense and security, cultural and people-to-people connections.
फूड प्रोसेसिंग के लिए क्षेत्र में पोलैंड वर्ल्ड लीडर्स में से है। हम चाहते हैं कि पोलैंड की कंपनियां भारत में बनवाए जा रहे मेगा फूड पार्क से जुड़े। भारत में तेज गति से हो रहे शहरीकरण से वाटर ट्रीटमेंट, सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, अर्बन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, ऐसे क्षेत्रों में हमारे सहयोग के नए अवसर खुल रहे हैं।
Polish Prime Minister Tusk also expressed Poland's eagerness to support India's defense modernization and reiterated the importance of bolstering India-EU relations during Poland's EU presidency.
Poland is ready to take part in India's defense modernization. We have the necessary technological capability and experts. India is global leader in the field of artificial intelligence, and we are using this technology in several areas, including defense.
Prime Minister Modi also called on Polish President Andrzej Duda in Warsaw. Over the past decade, India-Poland relations have seen remarkable growth, with bilateral trade rising to $5.72 billion in 2023, largely driven by Indian exports. As the two nations celebrate 70 years of diplomatic ties, this partnership has been further strengthened by initiatives like the Social Security Agreement aimed at enhancing workforce welfare and promoting mobility. Bureau Report, DD India.
And the Indian Prime Minister also met Polish President Andrzej Sebastian Duda at the Belvedere Palace in Warsaw on Thursday. The two leaders held discussions on various aspects of bilateral relations. Prime Minister Modi also delivered a press statement at the joint press conference with Poland's Prime Minister. Later, briefing the media persons about various outcomes of the meeting, India's Ministry of External Affairs said that India and Poland have agreed on a social security agreement.
There has been an understanding reached to finalize a social security agreement, which will be of importance for the professionals that are working in each other's countries.
Besides, both countries also share close cooperation in the fields of defense, which is a symbol of deep mutual trust between the two nations. The External Affairs Ministry has said that there is a working group which will continue to explore opportunities which exist in the field of defense.
On defense, we have a long-standing agreement, and there is a working group which meets. So the working group will continue to explore opportunities that exist in the defense sector for both sides.
Also, while in Warsaw, Prime Minister Modi visited the monument of the Battle of Monte and honoured the bravery of Polish soldiers in the Second World War. The monument, which was unveiled in 1999, commemorates the heroic efforts of the Second Polish Corps and reflects the enduring bond between Poland and its allies.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid a wreath and paid tribute at the monument of the Battle of Monte in Poland. The monument commemorates the sacrifice and valor of soldiers from Poland, India and other countries who fought alongside each other in the famous Battle of Monte in Italy during the Second World War. For the Prime Minister, it was a solemn moment to remember the valor of Indian soldiers who fought in World War II. Fought from May 11 to May 18, 1944, the Battle of Monte was a crucial and intense engagement in World War II. The battle was fiercely contested, with the Allied forces suffering significant losses. The monument features a headless winged Nike emerging from a shattered column, symbolizing victory and resilience. The urn containing the ashes of the Polish heroes is draped with a shroud featuring the cross of Monte adding a layer of solemnity and reverence to the memorial. The monument was officially unveiled on May 30, 1999, during the 55th anniversary of the battle. The monument to the Battle of Monte continues to serve as a poignant reminder of the valor of the Second Polish Corps and the broader Allied effort during World War II. Bureau Report, DD India.
And the Indian PM also laid a wreath and paid tributes at the Kolhapur Memorial in Warsaw. It is dedicated to the generosity of the princely state of Kolhapur, which offered to the Polish people during the Second World War a lot of solace. He even went to the Dobry Maharaj Memorial in Warsaw. During the Second World War, the Jam Sahib provided shelter to over 1,000 Polish children and is remembered even today as the Dobry or Good Maharaja in Poland.
The story of the Dobry Maharaja is one of the most evocative chapters in relations between India and Poland. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid a wreath and paid tribute to the Dobry Maharaja Memorial in Warsaw. The memorial is a tribute to the deep respect and gratitude that people and government of Poland have for the Jam Sahib of Navanagar, Digvijay Singh Ji Ranjit Singh Ji Jadeja. During the Second World War, the Jam Sahib provided shelter to over 1,000 Polish children. On Thursday, Prime Minister announced a new initiative called Jam Sahib Memorial Youth Exchange Program to further strengthen this special bond.
भारत जाम साहब मेमोरियल यूथ एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम शुरू करने जा रहा है। इसके तहत भारत 20 पोलिश युवाओं को हर साल भारत आने के लिए आमंत्रित करेगा। इससे भारत के बारे में पोलैंड के युवाओं को और ज्यादा जानने का मौका मिलेगा।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also laid a wreath and paid tribute at the Kolhapur Memorial in Warsaw. The memorial is dedicated to the generosity of the princely state of Kolhapur offered to the Polish people during the Second World War. The camp established at Waliwed in Kolhapur provided shelter to Polish people during the war. This settlement housed approximately 5,000 Polish refugees, including women and children. At the memorial, Prime Minister met with Polish people who had lived in the Kolhapur camp and their descendants.
Byłem w tym czasie, kiedy obok tego osiedla Waliwade był i chodził Mahatma Gandhi.
When he was in Waliwade settlement, at the same time there was time of Mahatma Gandhi movement, this peaceful movement developing.
Prime Minister's visit to these memorials highlights special historical connections that exist between India and Poland and continue to be nurtured and nourished. Bureau Report, DD India.
And Prime Minister Modi also dwelt on India's belief in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. Addressing an enthusiastic Indian diaspora crowd in the Polish capital Warsaw, he shared his thoughts on the significant contribution made by them in strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries.
The long wait of these people finally came to an end the moment Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived. He received a rousing welcome by the Indian community, the warmth and exuberance clearly visible. The visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Poland coming after 45 years. PM Modi addressed the Indian diaspora at an event organized in his honor by the Indian community in Warsaw on Thursday. The Prime Minister was welcomed by the community with enthusiasm. It's about peace and not war. He added that India believes in dialogue and diplomacy to resolve conflicts.
भारत बुद्ध की विरासत वाली धरती है। और जब बुद्ध की बात आती है तो जो युद्ध नहीं शांति पर विश्वास करती है। और इसलिए भारत इस रीजन में भी स्थायी शांति का एक बड़ा पैरोकार है। भारत का मत एकदम साफ है, ये युद्ध का युग नहीं है। ये उन चुनौतियों से निपटने के लिए एकजुट होने का समय है जिनसे मानवता को सबसे बड़े खतरे हैं। इसलिए भारत डिप्लोमेसी और डायलॉग पर बल दे रहा है।
Prime Minister spoke about India's growth story, saying the days are not far when India will become the world's third largest economy. Prime Minister also said that 250 million people have come out of poverty in India in the last 10 years.
भारत और पोलैंड दोनों देशों ने आपस में एक सोशल सिक्योरिटी एग्रीमेंट पर सहमति बना ली है, जिसका लाभ आप जैसे सब साथियों को होने वाला है। साथियों, भारत का विजन ग्लोबल है, भारत का विजन ग्लोबल है। भारत का कल्चर ग्लोबल है, केयर और कंपैशन ग्लोबल है। हमारे पूर्वजों ने हमें वसुधैव कुटुंबकम का मंत्र दिया। हमने पूरी दुनिया को एक परिवार माना है और यही आज के भारत के नीति और निर्णयों में नजर आता है।
PM Modi noted that a visit to Poland by an Indian Prime Minister was taking place after 45 years. He stated that India is the mother of democracy and its shared values with Poland bring the two countries closer. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. Israeli forces intensify their operations in central and southern Gaza as US President Joe Biden calls for agreeing to a ceasefire deal. And the cholera outbreak in Sudan intensifies further, claiming more lives.
August 2023, India created history by successfully landing Chandrayaan-3 on the lunar surface. To commemorate the feat, August 23rd has been declared as National Space Day.
I see space as a critical infrastructure without which, like roads, waterways and the air transport, space is becoming so critical for our security, for national asset mapping and for comfort of life of human being. We must become a leader to take it the place to go to Moon, Mars and habitat of creation of human beings outside. Who else will do? I believe India will be the leader in doing it.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. US Vice President Kamala Harris will make the most important speech of her political life on Thursday when she accepts the Democratic Party's nomination for president at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Kamala Harris will aim to persuade American voters to defeat Donald Trump in November's presidential election and put her into the White House. Her forceful stump speeches have been met by a surge in enthusiasm from voters. The Vice President's rocket-fueled campaign is still barely a month old, following Joe Biden's decision to withdraw from seeking re-election in the face of a disastrous debate performance and questions over his age and mental acuity. Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz has branded Donald Trump as weird and dangerous at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago just a day ago. And for more on the final day of the DNC, we're joined by DD India's Kate Fisher from Washington, D.C. Well, good evening to you, Kate. It's a huge day for both Kamala Harris and the Democrats on the final day of their national convention. How will the VP cap off 4 days of rousing speeches and atmospherics?
Political career to date. High stakes usually for any candidate, but no one in recent memory has had such a short campaign so far. Voters don't necessarily know that much about her. This is her big chance to really tell them and to reach those voters, those independents, those undecided voters that she desperately needs if she's going to win at the White House. We expect her to talk about her personal journey. She is the daughter of a single mother. She is a woman of colour, South Asian and African American. She is likely to discuss that in this speech. She'll also talk about joy. This has been one of the themes she's had. She wants to put a comparison between the bleak picture that Donald Trump is painting and the joy she says she'll bring to the presidency.
All right. And Republican rivals, former President Donald Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance have also been trying to drum up support for themselves in battleground states, swing states over these days that the DNC has been on. How have they been responding to what's really been happening? It's been a blitz against them as well.
Absolutely. They have spent the week touring swing states. Donald Trump, I think, is going to have been to 5 different states in 5 days, which is a huge difference to how he was campaigning when Joe Biden was his rival. He was kind of doing a couple of events a week, but he's really ramped up his campaigning in the face of his new competitor. and the fact that she's rising in the polls. So he's going to the US-Mexico border to talk about immigration today in Arizona, a big topic in this election, one that he hasn't actually been to the border during his campaign so far. J.D. Vance also visiting several swing states. They're really putting effort in, clearly spooked by Kamala Harris's rise in the polls. The idea, the Republicans said, was this for them to talk about policy and how they differ from Democrats. They've also criticized Kamala Harris, saying that she hasn't talked about policy enough. But Donald Trump has been veering back into his personal vendettas, talking about the things that annoy him about other people rather than sticking to policy, which is what the Republicans wanted him to do. So there is some concern that he's not sticking to the messaging that they want him to.
Okay, well, let's see what happens today, and then how does Donald Trump and how does J.D. Vance also respond to it, what Kamala Harris ultimately says when she accepts that nomination of the Democratic Party for president. Thanks a lot for joining us for the time being, Kate Fisher. Now, Israeli forces have intensified their operations in central and southern Gaza on Thursday, clashing with the Hamas. This escalation follows President Joe Biden's call for a truce and hostage release, with the White House stressing the urgency before upcoming Cairo talks. Meanwhile, the IDF conducted extensive airstrikes against Hezbollah sites in southern Lebanon amid escalating violence.
Israeli forces pressed deeper into areas of the central and southern Gaza Strip as they battled Hamas fighters on Thursday. This escalation came shortly after US President Joe Biden urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to finalize a truce and hostage release deal. The White House emphasized the need to resolve issues before upcoming Cairo talks with the US, Israeli, Egyptian and Qatari negotiators. This follows US Secretary of State Antony Blinken's recent visit to the region. The IDF said on Thursday that it carried out extensive airstrikes against Hezbollah terror group sites in southern Lebanon overnight, as the spiraling violence between the two sides showed no signs of losing momentum. On Wednesday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant declared Israel's readiness against threats during their respective visits to northern Israel and the Gaza Strip. During his visit to the Ramat David Air Force Base in the north, Netanyahu said the military were ready to meet any scenario defensively and offensively.
I am here at an Air Force base to closely observe our preparations against threats both near and far. We are prepared for any scenario both defensively and offensively.
Meanwhile, the displaced Palestinians in central Gaza are on the move again after the Israeli military issued new evacuation orders for Deir al-Balah, citing safety concerns.
Over the past days, new evacuation orders have been issued, affecting over 100,000 people that have been pushed out now of Khan Yunis and Deir al-Balah area. They're on the move with the few belongings that they have, looking for somewhere where they can put up their temporary shelters.
At the Democratic National Convention in Chicago on Wednesday, a mother of US-Israeli hostage Hirsch Goldberg-Polin, held in Gaza, broke in tears as she and her husband made an emotional plea for a ceasefire deal.
At this moment, 109 treasured human beings are being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza. They are Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, and Buddhists. They are from 23 different countries. The youngest hostage is a 1-year-old red-headed baby boy, and the oldest is an 86-year-old mustachioed grandpa. Among the hostages are 8 American citizens. One of those Americans is our only son. His name is Hirsch.
With the international community, including the United States, pressing for a resolution, the situation in Gaza remains critical with ongoing military actions and humanitarian challenges. Meanwhile, escalating violence between Israel and Hezbollah has complicated the broader conflict. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, hostage and ceasefire talks are expected to pick up again over the coming days in Cairo as mediators look for a way to bridge gaps between Israel and Hamas after more than 10 months of the fighting in Gaza. This comes as hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah are escalating amid fear of a wider regional spillover. Sarah Coates has more from Tel Aviv.
Well, the pressure on both Israel and Hamas to come to an agreement, come to a ceasefire deal just continues to mount, although while there is a lot of hope for this happening, there certainly is not a lot of optimism here on the ground. Now, late on Wednesday, US President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, they had a phone call with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, really pressing him on the urgency for a truce in Gaza. Now, shortly after this, his office put out a statement. It says that Israel will insist on the achievement of all its objectives of the war as they've been defined by the Security Cabinet, including that Gaza will never again constitute a security threat to Israel. Now, really, the major sticking point this time around is the control over the Philadelphia corridor. This is this very narrow strip of land that separates Egypt and Gaza. And it is a demand of Israel and the Prime Minister that there will be no withdrawal of Israeli forces from this strategic area, with Netanyahu saying that this would be a security threat given that weapon smuggling could happen from Egypt into Gaza. Now, Hamas has also demanded that Israeli forces must withdraw from that area. So certainly a lot of work to do for these key mediators over the weekend as they really try and get across the line and get this truce into play, with this truce really being seen as vital to bring down tensions in other parts of the region, including between Israel and Hezbollah, with cross-border strikes only intensifying. And we also do need to remember that this threat of retaliation from both Hezbollah and also Iran continues to loom over Israel after the assassination of two very senior figures, one of these being Fuad Shakur. He was the second in charge of Hezbollah. He was assassinated in Beirut a number of weeks ago, and just the day after that assassination was another. And this was of Ismail Haniyeh. He was the leader of Hamas's Politburo. So certainly a lot of tension in the region, and once again a lot of pressure on both of these warring parties to finally get this truce done after 10 months of fighting in not only Gaza, but also heavy conflict in Israel's north. Reporting from Tel Aviv, I'm Sarah Coates for DD India.
In the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russia repelled a Ukrainian incursion into the Bryansk region on Thursday. A Russian bomb struck in Ukraine's Sumy region near Kursk, killing 2 people. And a Ukrainian attack on a ferry in the Russian port of Kavkaz caused a fire, with damage and casualties still being evaluated. Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused Ukraine of trying to target Russia's Kursk nuclear power plant as well. An Mpox case reported in Thailand this week has been confirmed as being the clade 1b strain of the virus, the first in the country and the second of the variant outside of Africa. Thailand on Wednesday said that the infected 66-year-old European man had arrived from an African country. The United Nations International Organization for Migration has appealed for $18.5 million in assistance to provide healthcare services to people impacted by the Mpox outbreak in East and Southern Africa. Earlier, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is the epicenter of the Mpox outbreak, recorded over 1,000 new cases last week, after which the World Health Organization, or WHO, declared it to be a global public health emergency. More than 500 people have died and over 16,000 others have contracted the disease since the start of this year. The humanitarian crisis in Sudan has intensified cholera infections, with the war-stricken country recording almost 600 cases since July. Sudanese Health Ministry said that the country has recorded 593 cases and 28 deaths since announcing the epidemic on the 23rd of July. WHO and UNICEF have cooperated with the Sudanese Health Ministry to spray chlorine and open treatment and isolation centers in locations that are heavily affected by the disease. The country is also suffering the world's largest hunger crisis, with 25.6 million people in acute hunger. Venezuela's Supreme Justice Tribunal on Thursday ratified President Nicolas Maduro's victory in the 28th of July presidential election, sealing institutional backing for the ruling party as a disputed contest fades from international headlines. Since the vote and deadly anti-government protests which followed, Maduro's administration has conducted what the opposition, human rights groups and unions have characterized as a crackdown on dissent. And still to come on DD India News Hour. The Indian government is set to more than double its disbursements under the production-linked incentive scheme this financial year. And the Indian government's monthly economic review says food inflation in India is expected to fall in the coming months. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, on his tour to Poland, Prime Minister Modi has also met business leaders. The Prime Minister met Alina Pozlusny, MD TZMO India, a leading Polish manufacturer of diversified hygiene products. The PM highlighted various policies and initiatives such as Make in India campaign and recent liberalization in foreign direct investment. They also exchanged views on TZMO's expansion plans given the thriving market and investment opportunities in India. And the PM also met with Gawel Lopinski, CEO of Millennium Private Limited, a prominent Polish IT company with a notable presence in Pune. The PM assured Lopinski of India's commitment to ease of doing business and investment-friendly environment. Prime Minister Modi also met Poland's prominent Indologists in Warsaw. Professor Maria Christopher Bierski is a distinguished Polish Sanskrit scholar and Professor Emeritus of the University of Warsaw. Professor Bierski has served as the Ambassador of Poland to India from 1993 to 1996 and was conferred with the prestigious Padma Shri Award by the President of India in March 2022. Professor Halina Marlewiks is a prominent Polish scholar in Indian philosophy and the head of the Institute of Oriental Studies at Jagiellonian University in Krakow. Professor Danuta Stasik is a prominent Polish Indologist and former head of Department of South Asia Studies at the University of Warsaw, and Professor Przemysław Surek is a renowned Polish Indologist and the head of Indian Studies at the University of Warsaw.
हम बहुत ही खुश हैं कि 40 वर्ष के से ज़्यादा के बाद फिर भारत के प्रधानमंत्री आ गए और वही प्रधानमंत्री जिन्होंने उदाहरण के लिए अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस का स्थापना की और जिससे भारत की संस्कृति का दुनिया में ज्ञान बढ़ रहा है। आज के मिलन के बाद ऐसा अनुभव हुआ कि प्रधानमंत्री बहुत ही इस पर ध्यान देते हैं कि भारत की संस्कृति, भारत की परंपरा, भारत की प्राचीन चिंतन जो है वो हमारे विश्व में बढ़ जाए और हमसे उन्होंने ये कहा कि हम इस सेवा में हमको करना कोशिश करना है कि लोग ज़्यादा जान लें, न सिर्फ पॉलिटिक्स बल्कि वह यही सांस्कृतिक पक्ष जो अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संबंधों में है, ये इस पर हमने प्रधानमंत्री ने ध्यान दिया और हमसे आखिर में हमसे कहा कि आप कोशिश कीजिए कि भारतीय परंपरा, भारतीय ज्ञान और चिंतन लोग जान लें, समझ लें अच्छी तरह से। ये तथाकथित इंडोलॉजिस्ट का कर्तव्य है।
And Prime Minister Modi also met captains of Poland's Kabaddi team players. Kabaddi is a popular Indian sport as well as in Poland. Captains of Poland's Kabaddi team met the Prime Minister. Captains Michael Spisko and Anna Kalbarez presented a symbolic T-shirt to Prime Minister Modi.
I felt a huge positive energy from him. He was very proud that he was the person who was responsible for building the stadium in Ahmedabad because he is from Gujarat. And in this stadium I played during the World Cup in 2016 in Ahmedabad. So I think having a person like Prime Minister, like Modi, in this position, I think is a great opportunity to make India stronger in every sport. India should try for the Olympic Games in 2036, and of course I hope that Kabaddi will be in this Olympics.
He was really proud that we introduced Kabaddi to Europe, and I think he has a great wisdom regarding Kabaddi and the philosophy that stands behind this. So he was really happy that we introduced not only sport as a sport, but also the philosophy to children and to youngsters and to adult people, just to create leagues and promote Kabaddi as a sport for everyone.
The two-day visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi has ended in Poland on a very, very positive note, and he also met a section of the Polish personalities, which includes 2 Kabaddi players and also a businesswoman. So let's talk to them and find out. Kabaddi is India's national game. I have with me Michael. Michael is the captain of the Polish Kabaddi team. Michael, how was the experience interacting with the Prime Minister?
Yeah, I love it. His energy is awesome, and he's a sports person. He was responsible for building many stadiums, and he do yoga. I think he played cricket a little bit, so I think that was an amazing opportunity to talk with him, and we have more bigger and bigger motivation to promote the sport in Poland and in Europe, of course.
Well, absolutely. And Anna is the women's Kabaddi captain of Poland. Anna, first of all, Kabaddi, Poland, Prime Minister, I mean, quite a different combination.
Exactly, and the woman inside, actually. Yes. So yes, my impression was also very positive. The Prime Minister is very open and can really feel our situation here in Poland, promoting the ancient sport, Indian actually sport, which is Kabaddi. So I think the meeting went really smoothly and we got the bond, I guess. So really we could feel that he's supporting us in all layers.
From Kabaddi we move on to a different mat, and that is business. And I have with me, Alina is a businesswoman. Her company is doing business in India. So Alina, what was your reaction when you met the Prime Minister, and what kind of business? Was it business or as usual?
Yeah, definitely. It was a pleasure, and I was delighted to meet Mr. Narendra Modi here in Warsaw. Because we are, our presence, TZMO presence in India, it's more than 2 decades right now, and we are in femcare and medical business. So our brands, Seni, Bella and Happy, they are present in South India, and we are planning to, of course, develop in the future to the next states in India. And looking at India as a country which is developing so fast, we see a lot of opportunities for business and for women, because a lot of product of TZMO range is dedicated for women. So we would like to support them and make sure that they have happy and healthy life.
Happy and healthy life, for that you need to have a fit body. Fit body comes from sports, and they both represent that, and she takes care of your finances. With cameraman Ankur in Poland, this is Vishal Baristo, DD India, Warsaw.
Now, the Indian government may increase disbursements under the production-linked incentive scheme to nearly 15,000 crore rupees for the financial year 2025. That is double of the 6,800 crore rupees in the year 2024. The end of May showed combined investments under the PLI schemes having hit 1.3 trillion rupees or about $15 billion US. Covering 14 sectors, the PLI scheme was launched in 2021. Large-scale electronics manufacturing sector, mainly mobile manufacturers, account for 41% of the total disbursements. 4 sectors, automobiles and auto components, advanced chemistry cells, textile products and specialty steel, will receive incentives for the first time this year. Food inflation in India is expected to fall in the coming months as plentiful monsoon rains have replenished water levels in reservoirs. The Finance Ministry's Department of Economic Affairs has said it in its monthly economic review on Thursday. According to the latest data, retail inflation in India has come down to 3.5% in July 2024, the lowest since September 2019. The report highlighted that the steady progress in the southwest monsoon has helped Kharif sowing. GST collections in the first 4 months of FY25 have surged due to a widened tax base and increased economic activity. This growth is reinforced by a double-digit rise in e-way bill generation, indicating sustained economic momentum. Manufacturing and services sectors have also shown strong performance, driven by robust demand and expanding capacity utilization. The report also noted the Indian stock markets have witnessed another bullish run as both the Nifty 50 and BSE Sensex 30 indices have soared to new heights. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh arrived in Washington, D.C. on Thursday at the invitation of U.S. Secretary of Defence Lloyd Austin. India's Defence Ministry has shared a picture of Rajnath Singh and said Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has landed in Washington, D.C. He is on an official visit to the United States. Notably, Rajnath Singh will be undertaking an official visit to the U.S. He is there, in fact, from the 23rd to the 26th of August at the invitation of his defence counterpart in the U.S., Lloyd Austin. During the visit, the Defence Minister will hold a bilateral meeting with Lloyd Austin as well. And moving on to some national stories, India's President Draupadi Murmu presented Rashtrapati Vigyan Puraskar or National Science Awards 2024 in Delhi on Thursday. The awards were conferred to the celebrated biochemist Govindarajan Padmanabhan, who was selected for the first Vigyan Ratna Award, the topmost science award in the country, while ISRO Chandrayaan 3 team was selected for the first Vigyan Team Award. The awards were given in the fields of science, technology and innovation to recognize outstanding and inspiring scientific, technological and innovation contributions of researchers, technologists and innovators. Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting of India, Ashwini Vaishnav, has launched 25 challenges as part of the Create in India Challenge Season 1. This initiative aims to boost India's media and entertainment industry, promote investments and foster skill development. DD India's Siddharth Bharadwaj has more.
Union Minister of Information and Broadcasting Ashwini Vaishnav launched 25 challenges as part of the Create in India Challenge Season 1 for World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit, or WAVES. This summit will not only strengthen India's media and entertainment industry spectrum, but also attract investment, promote skill development, encourage content diversity and promote sustainable growth. Union Minister said that the launch is a reflection of India's growing and evolving economy. A totally new creators economy has been created, and the same is also recognized by the Prime Minister of India, as reflected in the first ever National Creators Award presented by him in March 2024.
इस क्रिएटर्स इकोनॉमी को प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने रिकॉग्नाइज किया और कुछ महीनों पहले पहला नेशनल क्रिएटर्स अवार्ड भी उन्होंने दिया। इस इकोनॉमी में बहुत ही बड़ा एक पोटेंशियल है। मुझे लगता है कि आने वाले समय में वेव्स अपने आप में एक भारत की जो मीडिया एंड एंटरटेनमेंट वर्ल्ड है, उसका जो टेक्नोलॉजी वाला पोर्शन है, उसका जो क्रिएशन वाला पोर्शन है, उसका जो इनपुट वाला पोर्शन है, उसमें वेव्स एक बहुत बड़ा फिनोमिनन बन के निकलेगा।
Emphasizing that filmmaking is one of India's strengths, The Union Minister mentioned that in today's era, there's a great scope of using new technology and tools in this sector, thereby ensuring a good scope for employment generation. Event was also addressed by the Secretary, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Sanjay Jaju, who hailed initiative as a significant milestone in India's ongoing mission to nurture and elevate India's creative ecosystem.
This initiative is a significant milestone in our ongoing mission to nurture and elevate India's creative ecosystem. It aligns seamlessly with our Honorable Prime Minister's visionary call, which was recently made to design in India, design for the world.
Create in India Challenge Season 1 will cover a wide range of disciplines including animation, filmmaking, gaming, music and visual arts, and these challenges are being done in the run-up to the main event. Siddharth Bhardwaj's report for DD India.
Now, the first National Space Day 2024 to be celebrated across the country on Friday, that is the 23rd of August. On this day last year, Chandrayaan 3 mission accomplished the soft landing of the Vikram lander on the lunar surface. The theme for this year's celebration is Touching Lives While Touching the Moon, India's space saga. You're watching DD India News Hour, and time now to get you all the sporting updates as well. Where the Board of Control for Cricket in India, that's the BCCI, and the England and Wales Cricket Board on Thursday announced the fixtures of India's 2-month-long tour to England in 2025. India will play a 5 Test match series from June to August spread across London, Headingley, Birmingham and Manchester, marking the start of a fresh World Test Championship cycle. India yet to win a Test series in England since 2007. They came close 3 years ago in 2021, but it ended in a 2-2 draw. The series was suspended after 4 Test matches, with India leading 2-1 due to a COVID-19 outbreak in the Indian camp. The last match was then played in 2022, which England won by 7 wickets. Leeds will host the first Test match from the 28th of June. Edgbaston will host the second Test 8 days later from the 2nd of July. The third Test will be played from the 10th of July at Lord's. The fourth Test will be on the 23rd of July at Old Trafford in Manchester. And the fifth will be played from the 31st of July back in London at the Oval. Now, the SPi Special School is dedicated to empowering children with intellectual disabilities. The school offers specialized programs, including creative projects, academic classes, speech and occupational therapy. These initiatives aim to make the children self-reliant. The school also aspires to develop them into international athletes, promoting their inclusion in mainstream society. An exclusive report by DD India's Narayan Singh.
SPi Special School under the aegis of Special Olympics Bharat Uttar Pradesh is making a big difference in the lives of children with intellectual disabilities. The school offers programs tailored to the needs to each child. One of the key activities at the school is creating beautiful items from waste materials. This activity helps the children express their creativity and gain a sense of achievement. The school also has a special academic curriculum designed for these children, helping them learn at their own pace.
जो बच्चे हमारे स्पोर्ट्स में खेलने के लिए जा रहे हैं, हाइपर एक्टिविटी कर रहे हैं या फोकस नहीं हो रहे हैं, उनकी हम प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग करें, उनकी स्पीच थेरेपीज़ कराएं, उनकी ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपीज़ कराएं, उनकी बिहेवियर थेरेपीज़ कराएं और उनको साथ में और एक्टिविटीज़ में इन्वॉल्व करें ताकि बच्चे अपना स्पोर्ट्स में भी बेस्ट कर सकें, अपने एजुकेशन में बेस्ट कर सकें।
यहाँ पढ़ाई करता हूँ और बॉल खेलता हूँ और सर के साथ अच्छा लगता है।
मैं पढ़ाई करता हूँ और मैं फुटबॉल खेलता हूँ और मैं वॉची भी खेलता हूँ और मैं पढ़ता भी हूँ। स्पेशल ओलंपिक अच्छा लगता है।
Speech therapy is available to improve communication skills. Hyperactive children benefit from occupational therapy, which helps them focus better. The school also provides classes in activities of daily living and teaching essential life skills. These efforts have led to significant improvements in the children's abilities.
हमारे बच्चे तब से यहाँ पर आया है तो काफ़ी कुछ लिखने भी लगा है और बोलने भी लगा है, काफ़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट है। आगे हमारा बच्चा बढ़ सकता है यहाँ पे आने से। स्पोर्ट्स में भी हमारा बच्चा आगे बढ़ जाएगा। यहाँ से स्कूल से थेरेपी वगैरह भी कराई जाती है बच्चे को।
यहाँ पर ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपी कराई जाती है। बच्चों के बिहेवियर कंट्रोल के लिए हम लोग वर्क करते हैं ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपी के थ्रू। स्पीच थेरेपी कराई जाती है बच्चों को बोलना सिखाने के लिए, जो बच्चे बोल सकते हैं और उन्हें पता नहीं है कि हम लोग कैसे बोलेंगे। हम लोग यहाँ वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग कराते हैं। हम बच्चों को सेल्फ डिपेंड बनाने की कोशिश करते हैं, सेल्फ अर्निंग की कोशिश करते हैं कि बच्चा कुछ सीखेगा और जब वो सामान सेल होगा तो वो बच्चा आत्मनिर्भर बन सकता है। हम लोग स्पोर्ट्स में काम करते हैं स्पेशल ओलंपिक भारत के लिए।
जो भी टीचर या कोच जो भी स्पेशल ओलंपिक में इन्वॉल्व होते हैं वो इन्वॉल्व हों तो एक तरीके से इन्वॉल्व हों, ट्रेनिंग लेके इन्वॉल्व हों, जिससे कि बच्चों को शिक्षण प्रशिक्षण अच्छे से दे सकें और वो बच्चे स्पेशल ओलंपिक में जाएं तो एक नाम रोशन करके आएँ।
The main goal of the SPi Special School is to make these children self-reliant. The school aims to help them earn a living and lead a dignified life. SPi also has a dream of turning these children into international athletes. The school is also working towards their inclusion in mainstream society through sports. By doing so, SPi not only empowers these children but also promotes a spirit of acceptance and inclusion within the broader community. Narayan Singh's report, DD India, Ghaziabad.
That's all we have for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.
This is a story of making of India's space surge and stellar decade of space. Scientific feats scripted by India in the history of planetary explorations.
Stories of Indian scientists operating from the very first mission control room in a church and transporting rocket parts by bicycle and bullock carts. This is the stuff that India's legendary space stories are made of.
India is inching closer to the sun. India unraveled the secrets of Mars. India has its national pride placed on the moon.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
23 अगस्त को जब भारत ने चंद्रमा पर तिरंगा फहराया, उस दिन को अब हिंदुस्तान नेशनल स्पेस डे के रूप में मनाया जाएगा। भारत का गगनयान भी हमारे स्पेस सेक्टर को एक नई बुलंदी पर ले जाने वाला है।